Can you send me the link?
Turn off my audio.
And go.
Hey MoonToken fam, it's Stacy and welcome to our first ever MoonToken Live Academy. We are so excited and oh my gosh, thank you Andrew for that amazing countdown intro. Awesome, possum. I'm Stacy Ho, your project lead, and I'm going to point to Andrew Bowie, who is one of my bestest friends in the universe, and he's the expert in all this OBS and how to make this look super professional, and he is our co-host today as well, and he's going to be working the streaming, sending your questions. We will be answering your questions Thank you, Andrew, for helping us facilitate today. Today, let's just jump straight into it. We want to demystify and understand smart contracts. And so what we have to provide value to our community is we have our 3 dev team members here. We have Esko Cruz, 6 a.m. in California. We have Bernard Lee here with me in Hong Kong, and it's 9 p.m. here. So our technology advisor, Esko, is our software developer. And we have Ram from the Philippines. Shout out, hi, Ram. I think he's there.
Hello.
Hey, cool. So we have our wonderful tech team here, and it's all about just understanding more, because when we have more information, we are more empowered in general to make better decisions. And then we also have Emmanuel, our head of marketing, here as well. So today's going to be an awesome, fruitful conversation, and I very much like to pass on the baton to Bernard.
Oh, okay. So I just start right away.
Yes.
Okay, let's do a share screen. Let's see what I prepared. I think it's here. Does everybody see this, right? I'm gonna
recording in progress.
Okay, I'm gonna try do the full screen thingy. Oh, are you seeing my full screen, or are you?
We see your full screen.
Okay,
and
good,
we see ourselves on the side.
Okay, and the flashing computers. Okay, so I am going to start from.
But your screen's now black.
Okay, let's. Let me stop share again. Let me try to share my. Let me try to share my technical difficulties. All right.
No worries.
Okay. I think this will work, right?
Yes, it does work. Super good.
Yep.
Okay.
All
Good. All right. So I'm going to start from the very, very beginning. You know, when all it started, it was actually Bitcoin. And Bitcoin all started with this famous Genesis block, which is just a small thingy, which is worth 50 Bitcoins at that time. And at that time, you know, like it actually, the 50 Bitcoin was a reward for mining a block. And that is the spirit of decentralized finance, because with DeFi, decentralized finance, we no longer have a bank or an authority. Everything belongs to everybody. And with this paradigm shift, something fundamental has to happen. And that fundamental concept is that everybody will be rewarded for being part of the bank or the financial institution, right? And it depends on the amount of work that you put in. So this is also the new economy, because now everyone can be a part of the bank and they get paid, right? Of course, they don't get paid using money or any currency or fiat or whatever you call it. Everybody got paid with Bitcoin, so it bootstrapped itself. So the first block is 50 BTC, and then with every new block, the reward actually decreases and the difficulty increases. So it also encourages early participants for the reward, which actually makes a lot of sense, because the higher the risk, the higher the reward. So this is the birth of a new economy. And so with the little hidden text set in here, it says, you know, like Chancellor on brink of second bailout of banks. This it's what we call the Coinbase. Coinbase is actually the content. So the first block is actually the content saying a message, more like, you know, when we have the advertising for the Apple computer, you know, like some big bashes, you know, like a bunch of people wearing suits. It's sort of like a similar effect. So the difficulty of mining the block is one. That means that you can get Bitcoins very, very easily. So those were the days. And then, of course, a lot of people got rich. And that's the rest of the story. So the blue thing is the address of the Genesis block, and which is the beginning of everything. All right. So Next one. I want to compare Bitcoin with Ethereum. We are actually not on Ethereum, but we are on Binance Smart Chain BSC. But Binance Smart Chain is actually very, very similar to Ethereum. It's actually almost mostly identical, I would say. So the technology behind is actually Ethereum. And the main difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum is that Ethereum is not only about transactions. Bitcoin was mostly about transactions, and Ethereum supports what they call the DApps, distributed apps, which I'm going to go through in a moment. And so this one is only a few years old, and while actually as of well, it says July 30, 2015. I'm not too sure about the dates. So this is the Genesis block of Ethereum. And we also see that Bitcoin was more like binary, and Ethereum uses a new way of representing things. It's actually called JSON, JavaScript object notation, which is more friendly for human to read. So it is easy to program, it's easy to read, and it's sort of like a new technology as opposed to Bitcoin. And it is so amazing because it had only been a few years, and it's almost like one generation ahead in the crypto world. So this is actually so amazing when we talk about the speed of technology and how it progresses like exponentially, like in the last few years. And what is this? This is difficulty. This is actually going back to Bitcoin. As we all see, in 2009, when it all started, difficulty was 1. So 1 was the Genesis block. And in here, the difficulty is like 20 plus trillion. I think T is trillion. Yeah, there are too many zeros. I lost track. But 21.43 T was the complexity. And that's why, they are gobbling up all the electricity for mining and what they call like, well, anyways, this is happening just so fast that I think even the most savvy techs, has some form of difficulty catching up. It's just amazing fast. So this is actually a Bitcoin block, and the structure of that, it's quite simple. And well, I'm going to go a little bit into these things because it would be the fundamental required to really understand smart contracts so that we understand what it actually does, can do, and cannot do. So the block has a header. The header is the blockchain. I will go into that in a minute. And the blockchain is just the buzzword. And the technology behind it is actually called the Merkle tree. It's a professor called Professor Merkle, and he invented something way before Bitcoin was coined. And then it's actually, well, I'm actually surprised that it was not called the Merkle chain. It's called the blockchain. Probably because the block it's a lot more legible.
Wow.
And I have heard from marketing experts that you gotta have to make things very, very understandable and very down to earth before your company will flourish. For example, like the famous Chinese, like a shopping website Taobao. It just literally means like digging treasure, and that it's what they call a down to earth, like down to earth name. So Merkle chain is probably too geeky, and it would probably never take off. But blockchain took off like it. There's no tomorrow, and well, it's a lot of things that I learn, like every now and then.
I remember
I never stop learning.
when we first met, you had this presentation at our Rotary Club, and you were like, people call it blockchain, but it's actually just a chain of blocks. Yeah,
that was me before my evolution.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as I evolved more into the crypto world and as a human being, like thanks to Stacy bringing me to Rotary, I learned how to be a human being instead of just a geek. And then, well, this is my new pitch. Like it wasn't called a Merkle chain, right? But it was actually a Merkle tree by Professor Merkle. And then there are transactions. Transactions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all to n. And I'm going to compare that between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin has no smart contract, Ethereum has smart contracts, and then you can see the difference. So this is the Bitcoin block. So each transaction is actually a string of numbers, and it's called a hash. A hash is something that can go one way, but not the other way. So it takes a lot of work to mine it, but it takes a fraction of a second to prove it. So it's like, wow, it was so difficult. And then when Einstein come over and say, hey, it was so simple, E equal to MC squared. And then people say, why didn't I think about that? It's so easy. The word is easy, E equal to MC squared. So it's easy to mumble it, but it took Einstein to discover it over decades. And also the fallen apple, wow, the apple fell, right? And there's gravity. Oh, why didn't I think about that? So it is like same thing. It's not complex at all. It's nothing more complex than the apple falling from the tree or Einstein's E equal to MC squared. The simplicity of not being any simpler is the hash, and the hash is is difficult one way and it's easy the other way.
So
okay.
Is there, about the hash, like, is there a specific format? Like the first two numbers are always the first two characters are always numbers, or it's just totally randomized?
Totally random. Totally random. Actually, the more random, the merrier. There are actually some patterns. So, for example, I think the Genesis block has deliberately zeros in the beginning, and that is probably well. Actually, if I read the Satoshi Nakamoto paper, from end to end, I would have the answer, but I don't.
Oh, I did, but I didn't really understand it. But okay.
But the Genesis block, I think, has a few zeros in the beginning, and it was designed for a purpose, although I think nobody knows exactly why Sakamoto did it that way. We don't even know who Sakamoto is. So anyways, that's still a myth, and it would remain forever a myth, and probably that's why it is up there in the pedestal, together with Vitalik. Is also way up there. Okay, we're just models trying to interpret what's happening. So this is the Bitcoin block hashes, and so this is the Merkle chain, right? Which means that everyone depends on the previous one. So if one chain, one link breaks, then the whole thing is going to be I don't know, invalid, right? So and it is because it is so difficult to prove, then you can't break it. It is fail safe. I would try to go into some of the concepts a little bit later. So this is the Merkle tree. So this is the invented by Mr. Ralph Merkle, and he was now in nanotechnology, cryonics, and security. He's like a brainiac, and I'm giving this explanation, credit of the explanation to Mr. Daniel Finlay, which is a lead developer on MetaMask, the famous fox, on the digital wallet. And he says the Merkle tree is actually just about mixing colors. So you see that, like a red and yellow became orange, and blue and pink became purple.
Oh.
And so like purple became so like this muddy, like a thingy.
Right? It's a lipstick color. It's like lipstick.
It's a lipstick color.
Yeah,
but it was
I have it. It's in my bathroom. Yeah.
That's great. So he had a way. Mr. Finlay had a way to make everyone understand it, and he is surprised, and I was surprised that nobody had thought about that before. So it is so easy to see how the color mix, and actually you could just maybe paint some crayons and you can see the color in there. But if you were given this lipstick and you were to be asked, okay, tell me everything that happened before, there is absolutely no way you can figure out that these 4 exact colors. As a matter of fact, you have infinite amount of answers that will lead to the same, what they call the Merkle root. So that this problem is mathematically impossible to solve, right? And so that's actually why cryptocurrency is so secure and it's so safe because it is a mathematical impossibility for you to break it.
Yeah,
right. So those people.
I would say, like Bernard said, it's easy one way. To make a hash, it's easy. To decode a hash is crazy. You can't really. It's a mathematical
impossibility.
Yeah. So making a hash of a hash, try to decode that.
Yeah.
Yes. But I really love Daniel Finlay's way of explaining it without, like saying about hash. I mean, like I used to tell people about, hey, when we hash, like for example, 1 to the power nm equals to x, and if you have given m, then n is impossible to derive, and then people will look at me as if I have 4 and say, huh, what did you say, right? But I think the colors work well, so kudos to Daniel. And so this is blockchain. So this is just a asymmetric tree, like a tree where there are a lot of branches on one way, but just one branch on the left-hand side. It's sort of like a sprout, one-way sprout. So that is a Merkle tree, and that is the essence of blockchain.
Ooh.
Right? Same for Ethereum, same for Bitcoin. Okay, and so now this is the comparison between a Bitcoin block and an Ethereum block. So the Bitcoin has 4,000 transactions, up to 4,000 per block. That means that you're gonna have to accumulate 4,000 transactions before you can mine a block. I'll talk about
that
mining.
block is that 1 Bitcoin, or it's like how many Bitcoin do you get per block?
There are 2 different concepts. First of all, actually you mine the block which are transactions. So if we go back to here, so this is a block. So a block is, there's no Bitcoins in the block, right? There are only transactions in a block, and you actually start from 0, and then you count from 0. You add this, minus this, add this, minus this. So you have to go through the entire transaction log before you figure out how much Bitcoin you have, each one of you have. So it's all about the process. But because every process is documented and proved, there's no way for you to manipulate it. So the question is not like how many Bitcoins are there in the block. It's like how many transactions are there in the block, and they are up to 4,000 per block, right? And each block is only 1 megabyte. So it is so compressed. So nowadays, like web pages are so bloated. You hit refresh, and it's like you're downloading the entire encyclopedia of Britain before you refresh the web page, which is wrong. But blockchain, they are so efficient that 1 megabyte, which is less than 1 refresh in any one web page, there are 4,000 transactions. The reason why Bitcoin was low was because it takes about 10 minutes to mine a block using modern technology, and therefore the maximum transactions per second is about 7. So you can only have 7 transactions per second, and it takes a while for you to prove it, right? So there's and then about the mining. Actually, the mining is to prove the transactions. Well, it's oversimplified, but I was building my own private blockchain, right, which is not connected to Ethereum or something. And then I figured out that my transactions were not going. So I thought I did something wrong, and I have no idea. I was pulling my hair apart. And then I figured out that the reason why it didn't work is because I didn't have any miner mining. So without a miner, without any miner, nothing happens in the blockchain. Nothing happens in smart contracts. And so this is a very important concept, is that miners are not only about getting money, not earning Bitcoins, which is what everybody else was interested in, because you mine, you get Bitcoins. But the reason why you get Bitcoins when you mine is actually a side effect. The primary purpose is to get as many people as possible to prove and to participate in this decentralized finance world, so that everybody carries the very important task of consensus. That means that if Stacy does something, she will never ever be able to escape the public eyes, because so many people are trying to.
Story. This is what I'm faced with. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So Ethereum, in order to overcome this slowness, it has a new concept. Gas is actually what you pay for people to prove your work, the proof of work, proof of stake, right? Everybody who use their computer power and their energy and money and electric bill to help prove the entire blockchain or smart contracts, get gas because they spend the money to do it. And Ethereum has only about 70 transactions per block, and each block is mined in about 14 seconds. So it's a lot faster than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has no smart contracts, and Ethereum has smart contracts. All right. So I'm going to pick up pace a little bit because I think most of the concepts are done here, like it. So any actually questions up to this stage?
Nope.
Okay,
We've been
good.
asking. We've been asking as we're going. Yes.
Okay. One other very important part of Ethereum is the theoretical cap. So as you see, a Bitcoin get increasingly more complex, and it's sort of like smooths out, and then it caps at like 21 million theoretical Bitcoin. It gets exponentially more difficult. But Ethereum, actually, the maximum growth is 18 million Ethereum coins per year, and it goes up. And of course, with Ethereum 2.0, I got this proof of stake. So things would be more environmentally friendly. So smart contracts can accumulate, and so it's more scalable. So that's why everything here, including all of the coin derivatives and all of the NFTs, they're all based on Ethereum, which also include Binance, BSD, right? So this is proof of work, proof of stake. Of course, I'm not going to go into details, but I think there are a lot of explanations here, so I'm going to skip that one. A lot of people would be able to explain this better than I do. So, and I want to show you one thing. It's how people get conflicts. Because when too many people, when a lot of people are trying to prove the same thing, eventually one does it faster than others. And so does it mean that other people don't get paid? In the Bitcoin world, yes. Because in the Bitcoin world, there are orphans and there are sale nodes, and none of them get paid. But in the Ethereum and in the Binance smart contract, BSC, orphans became uncles. Uncles means that you have no blood relationship. It's not your mom, it's not your dad, but it's your uncle. But your uncle is still relative, right? So he gets paid, but less. So the way that you determine a consensus, which means that, okay, who has the authority, is that, for example, if me and Stacy are the fastest miners, and if I propagate my stuff, I prove my block, and if there are 4 people on my chain, and if Stacy got only 3 on your chain, that means that I win, and Stacy lost, and Stacy gets less compensation. She get less gas. Or maybe I should reverse.
Yeah, next time you reverse your example.
Stacy wins, Stacy is below.
That's better, yeah.
And I'm on the top. I have orphans and steals. And Stacy's got a premium.
So does that mean the one on the top doesn't get any money or just less money?
In Bitcoin, no. In Bitcoin, no. In Ethereum and BSC, yes, less, right? So people get rewarded. And I have a perfect Excel. Do you see the animation?
No.
No? Oh, let me just try this. Stop sharing, share screen, and this one. Now you see it, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is the real-time participant of how Ethereum is being mined. So all of these people have, racks and racks and racks of miners sucking up all the electricity from the water dams, and they are mining, and they are blocks at 17 seconds per block, and each block has X number of transactions. The reason why some of them are bigger and some of them are smaller is because transactions, they have more, but if you have smart contracts, you have less. because
What
smart
about the
contracts.
purple color? Why are the different colors?
Well, some of them are orphans, and some of them are like I don't know, uncles, right? And actually, they are mining also because you have followers, you're trying to reach a consensus. The bigger one has more followers, smaller one has less followers, right? And they are work in progress. And when you are big to a certain point, then you disappear, and then you become a valid block, and that is a chain of blocks. Merkle tree, chain of blocks.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And so the taller ones are the ones with mostly transactions, buy and sell, or maybe conversion to NFTs. And the smaller ones are smart contracts, because Ethereum blocks, the block size depends on the gas, and the more you spend, that means the more expensive the calculations, the shorter the block will be. It is designed so that your mining time does not exist like things like 17 seconds, so as to keep the entire smart contract ecosystem fast enough.
That's why, like, when we buy things and there's like Ethereum, I always see like they have this like something. There's a fraction, right? What is it called, Esko? It's something like it's like nodes or something. Like for the transaction.
Of the people validating your transaction.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah, validation, actually mining and validation is the same thing. And then of course, the proof of work and the validation is the same thing, and hash is the same thing, just different angles to the same thing, is because everything is proof of work, everything is a validation, everything is mining, and everything is about rewards. You get rewards for validation. And that's the entire ecosystem of crypto. And now we are going on to smart contracts. Okay. Well, the reason why MoonToken is on Binance, BSC, and not on Ethereum is because of this. Gas is determined by supply and demand, and it can go up and it can go down. And when the demand for computing power arises, then the gas goes up. And a lot of people were complaining that Ethereum charges through the roof and it's so much. And how can we do anything on it? And of course, that's only when the gas price is high. And just like the real oil prices, sometimes it can be low. So for example, like in between June and July, they have an all-time low in here. Whereas it has a dip, but now of course July, August is going high again, and so it's all about supply and demand. And in a miner, actually you can run your miner with a threshold. So when you run the miner, or if you participate in a node, what you can do is that you can specify your minimum acceptable gas. If it's cheaper than that, I'm out. Don't count me in. I'm not doing anything. If you pay me less than this, right? So this is gas, and as of right now, Binance Smart Chain has a much lower gas than Ethereum. I've been asked why, and probably because of the sort of like God effect of Vitalik, because it's sort of like Elon Musk and the Bill Gates and Steve Jobs of their respective companies. And while I'm not aware of the equal status of Vitalik or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk in Binance, which probably is working to Binance's advantage, because
the Chinese guy.
Well, the Chinese guy, yeah, but he's also like less famous than Vitalik in the general public.
Okay.
In the general public,
CV.
It's sort of like between Jack Ma and also the CEO of Tencent, Ma Fatang, right? He is a more modest guy. I'm not saying that Jack Ma is more famous and because he's better, and not like that at all. But some people are more high profile, and it sort of like has the marketing effect, just like the CEO of Xiaomi. And it's not necessarily a good thing, because he's known to like follow the gestures of Steve Jobs, for example, wearing jeans, and one more thing, right? One more thing, right? But like I would say that the Binance Smart Chain's leader, a public figure, is a little bit less known, and probably to their advantage, the gas is lower. Although it's picking up speed, so we don't know what's going to happen. It's all about the market, and so we're going to see it. So that's part of the fun, because like this is so dynamic, and it's changing every day.
This guy.
Yes.
He's Canadian. I think he's Canadian. He went to McGill.
Yes.
Pang Zhao. So it really sounds bad, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Stacy. But they are actually right now they are above the volume of Ethereum. Well, Pancakeswap is taking over Uniswap version 2 now, like by a big margin. So he's winning. He is winning. Going back to the Ethereum virtual machine, which is the same as the BSC virtual machine, it is actually, as it was named, a virtual machine. A virtual machine has a computer. A virtual computer has a memory, and gas is more like electricity. And everyone who runs a Ethereum node or the Binance node has one of these running. So this is like this. The hardware is the red circle, and then there's the operating system, which could be Windows, it could be Linux, it could be bare metal, and then you have the Ethereum virtual machine application, which is GETH, which stands for Go Ethereum. Go is the language from Google, and Ethereum is of course the system, and Binance is the same as Ethereum, mostly. And then the smart contract is on top of the virtual machine. So the smart contract is a small program that runs on top of the Ethereum virtual machine, which is a much simpler machine than our computer. I'll give you one perspective. Our cell phones, probably any one of our cell phones, any phone, is going to be 128 gigabytes, right? 128 gigabytes.
I don't know. We got it together. I don't know.
It's gigabytes. It's gigabytes. And then the memory even is like about 4 gigabytes. So it's a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. So 1,000 million bytes, right? But as I mentioned before, each block, it's only about 1 megabyte or less. Yeah. So it is significantly simpler. And as a matter of fact, I've been telling my kids, not my own kids, but like the little kids that I teach, is that the Apollo 13, the computer that propels Apollo 13 up to space and then come back to Earth, bringing precious lives of astronauts back home. It's less powerful than the light switch that we have in here, let alone our smartwatches. Like a smart switch, like a switch is more complex, or even a charger. A charger is more complex than rocket. So as a matter of fact, like my earphone here, it's outpowered. It's outpowering Apollo 13's computer, which is a consensus because there are 3 computers, they vote. So this is more powerful than the Apollo 13 computer by orders of magnitude, by tens and hundreds of times, right? And the interesting thing is blockchain is going back to the basics. The blockchain is operating with a virtual machine, which is closer to the complexity of the Apollo 13 computer. Which is amazing. That actually is one of the secrets that it's not a secret actually, it's just we don't talk about it. It is how we can let everybody run a bank. Of course, the DeFi, decentralized finance, like we all run part of the bank. Anyone can fire up a Raspberry Pi even to run a part of the bank. And before, the bank are using like hundreds of millions of dollars, in high-end mainframe equipment, and now we can use a Raspberry Pi. They get it for 150. No, not even 150. Maybe 150 Hong Kong dollars. For this smallest one, and we can run a decentralized bank. And it is because it is using Apollo 13 technology in the modern world. It's so small and so efficient. It is mind-boggling, and it's so amazing. And just to see the behind of a smart contract, these are all the instructions possible for any smart contract and all smart contracts. And I'm sure a lot of us has talk about has seen the movie or watched the movie for Alan Turing. You know, when they broke the German code.
The one with Benedict Cumberbatch or something.
Cipher machine.
Yeah, I forgot. But
it's called movie trivia. Go Esko.
Yeah. But anyway, that movie is about Alan Turing, which is the father of computer science, and he has like a famous test called the Turing test. Is actually being done every year in here. We have people trying to pretend to be computers and computers trying to pretend to be humans, and they have a contest. So the computer that wins, like, is the best at mimicking a human, and the human is best at mimicking a computer. So you blur the line between human and computer, which is the modern benchmark of artificial intelligence, but it was invented in the 1950s by Alan Turing, and less known is his other test, which is called Turing Complete. Like, Turing Complete means that as simple as a machine that can be built using Lego. So there are high schools that build a Lego Turing machine, which like operates at like a 0.1 bits per second, something like that, like insanely slow speed. But that computer is theoretically possible to do any computation in the world, period, without exceptions. So that's called Turing Complete. And the smart contract virtual machine, the EVM, is Turing Complete. That means that however simple it is, it can perform any computable problems in the world. Right, but of course, we don't do that because reason why is very expensive. Memory is inexpensive in modern computers, but in the smart contract world, we pay for gas. Right, we pay for people to mine, and it's getting increasingly more difficult, and therefore we pay for gas. And so it is in all our intention to make it as simple as possible. I'm going to accelerate a little bit because I think I'm running a little bit behind time. Right, so this is a smart contract, but of course, I don't want to read this. We don't want to read this. So what we do is that we have languages that take very simple language and convert it into a bytecode, which fits into a virtual machine, which fits tens of them into a small block, less than 1 megabyte, which can be mined every 17 seconds. And that is also, that is called Solidity, right? Actually, Solidity is the new child in the block. There are a number of ones before that. And the ERC20, which is the foundation of the smart contract, only has a few functions. Total supply, how many of them total? Balance off, how many of them left? Actually, this is persistent, meaning that it keeps up. Well, one other big thing between Ethereum and Bitcoin is that Bitcoin does not keep a balance, but Ethereum keeps a balance. So balance off, this one is kept inside the block, the state machines, the EVM inside the Ethereum. And then, of course, you have the total supply, which is a constant. It never decreases. You have balance off transfer, you have allowance, approve, and transfer from, and transfer and approval are the notification events. So of course, these start going to like the things that other people explain much better than I do. There are a lot of YouTube videos, so I'm not going to go into that, right? So now we are going to the MoonToken contract. Okay, I'm gonna make this very, very simple, very, very simple. And I'm just gonna put in a few points, and then I am going to leave the rest to your interpretation, because hopefully before this, I already gave you everything you need to understand the entire contract. Seriously.
Oh my gosh, it's like a quiz.
It's not a quiz. It's just I'm just going to throw a few things that are important, because what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take away everything which is not important.
Okay.
And only let the most important parts remain, so that every one of you would understand the MoonToken contract.
Okay.
Even though you can write it.
I have one question.
Yes.
What is UINT?
unsigned integer, which you
Oh
don't
my
have.
gosh, I thought it just misspelled of unit.
No, it's unsigned integer. But anyways, SOS solidity. But these are all the things that you don't need to see, right? If you look at the source code, it is about like 1,000 lines, but the actual code that matters is only a few lines, right? So this one you do not have to worry about because it is just a copy of Open Zeppelin. Open Zeppelin is a de facto standard contract of all tokens. So that means that MoonToken is no different than any other token. That's all you need to know. It's an Open Zeppelin contract, ERC20, which is the de facto standard, and then there's no difference, right? So you don't need to worry about this. Go out the window.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, and then
And now I know it's a quiz. I have to put on my glasses. Okay.
This is not the quiz. These are all the things that you don't need to worry about. Of course, it is based on 0.6, which is the older version. It can never change because once you're in a smart contract, it's mined in the block. And when you're mined in the block, when there's a consensus algorithm, it would never, ever be able to change. So nobody can hack the contract. Just like nobody can hack Bitcoin, technically. So nobody can hack a smart contract. It's forever burnt in bytecode. All right. So coming back in here, this is a standard Open Zeppelin contract, ERC20 standard, no difference. No need to worry about it. And address library, address is a standard library. And it's also not relevant because everything has addresses. So for example, it's contract. So this is the only one that we need to know. Account hash is like this. So this is sort of like the Genesis account and it has an address. And besides changing that address, nothing is different from standard library. So library address, this is a copy of the Open Zeppelin contract address class. Nothing different.
So the black is the MoonToken.
Yes, and the white is the standard.
Okay, and like they're like identical.
Well, the language is not identical because we are comparing version 0.6 to 0.8, which has evolved, but the spirit is the same. All right. So whether or not in like the old one has a problem or whether or not the new one is better, it's it's much deeper. That's why we pay a lot of money for people to sort of like do code review. But I could to simplify. The simpler the better. Like Einstein said, make everything simple but not simpler. And looking at how simple it is for the EVM, even though the source code is considerably different, when it gets interpreted into this bytecode, it is so simple that it cannot be of any difference at all. It's just that the new format makes it easier for you to do the things the human way. At the end of the day, it all gets translated into this concise, very, very condensed bytecode storage, which is essentially the same. All right, so you can see it as different. Version is different, language is different, text is different, comment is different, everything is different. But when it gets to compile to this minimal, compact bytecode format, it becomes the same. So I hope this takes a lot of the worry of everybody about the security of crypto, because as I mentioned before, it's actually not that vulnerable. And I'm going to cover cybersecurity on crypto and decentralized finance on probably a next sharing, but not today. All right, so address library, same. Safe math is because JavaScript is not so safe because this is what we call a typeless language because like Java, and Java is a strongly typed language. Well, I'm not going to go into details, but like a JavaScript is more general purpose. So we need to make a general purpose language more specific. So safe math, make sure that the math is safe, right? And it's the same. Nothing has changed. No need to worry about it. And then, of course, there's a standard contract definition, which is what we call ownable. A contract can be owned by somebody. And then of course the block can be owned by somebody, and then of course currency can be owned by somebody. So ownable is a standard contract definition. So up to line 400, we don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, it's like identical. I have my fingers on the screen, like checking it out. It's
Yeah,
identical.
mostly identical. You know, when it goes to bytecode, it becomes identical, believe me. Right. And
Oh,
then,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, and then now we're going to the 500 lines. Uniswap. So actually, it is on Binance Smart Chain BSC, but it's actually using the Uniswap protocol version 2, right?
Even though it's on Pancakeswap.
Yes, because Pancakeswap and Uniswap are almost the same. The founders of Binance has so much respect for white talent that, you know, like it with full credit, it branched the entire Go Ethereum source code and the entire Uniswap's open source code and made Pancakeswap and made Binance with minor changes.
Pancakeswap.
Yes, well, we're doing Pancakeswap, right?
Yeah, who made it?
I'm not too sure. I gotta look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, my history, you know, like goes in here. Stops here. So for the rest, I like trivia that I think you can do a Kahoot on later.
Kahoot, yes.
Yeah. So this is Uniswap version 2 library, which gets embedded into the smart contract, and line 695 is really where it all starts. That means that the first 60% of the smart contract are standard. And then line 695 is really where it starts. And it starts with the name, and it starts with the total. Is that the private total is that much token. And yeah, because the 10 whatever is like the fractions of a token. It's all more like the Satoshi compared with one Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is X number of Satoshis, and then 10 to the power 18 is the actual number of Moon tokens are their total. I think this is it.
And then the 10 dot asterisk 18 means 18 decimal points.
No, 18 zeros.
Oh, 18 zeros. Ooh.
Yeah, 10 to the power 18 zeros. So, but anyways, these are the definition. So of course, this is the definition, and for liquidity fee. So that is the important part. So you define the coin by defining the liquidity. Like so, this is the definition. Definition is extremely simple. There's not much to it. And then when we are up to the 700 and 800 lines, actually a lot of them could be ignored as well. Because why? Because the ERC20 has a standard definition. And when you say return underscore allowances, owner spender, that means that you're inheriting the parent behavior. Like I have a son, like the son inherits from my look and my personality. And so nothing has changed, right? So these all can be ignored. You don't need to look at the smart contract in these areas because it is the same as the parent, right? So it means that, you know, like it's actually not much at all, right? And then the base MoonToken contract is the constructor, which is like this line 749 onwards. So with so the first thing that it says is, okay, the Uniswap version 2 router address is this address. And when you look at this address, you know, in the Binance Smart Chain database, it is actually the Pancakeswap router address, right? So the smart contract is hard-coded to the Pancakeswap router, which is hard-coded. That means that nobody else can do any transactions except the official Pancakeswap router. It is unhackable, unless when unhackable in modern computer power, including the KGB, the CIA, and the Red Army.
Really?
Really, nobody can hack it.
Even the Red Army?
No, unless maybe 50 years later, what I call the Armageddon of the internet is when the quantum computing exceeds like something like 2,000 qubits, right? That means that every single encryption algorithm in the world is going to break, and that's what I call the Armageddon of the internet. So a lot of people, including Google and maybe a dozen other companies left, are doing what we call the post-quantum computing era, which is all the scope today. But for now, for the next 50 years, it is safe to invest in cryptocurrency wherever the law allows. Yes. And I can, well, one trivia is, for most of the breaches in the history of cryptocurrency, is mostly a leak of the wallet, and it's because of automated wallets, and automated wallets resides on a computer, on a server, so that the computer can trade on our behalf, such as in an exchange. So hacks always happens in an exchange, because in an exchange, you're going to have to save the key into the computer, but the computer is not safe. So as long as the key is kept in a safe place, such as you write it down in, like a series of like words, the word list, the BIP 39 word list, which is like 21 words. So as long as you write it somewhere, and if you don't put it into the server, onto the server, then it is safe, mathematically safe. The breaches all happens with computer vulnerabilities, whereas your key actually gets stolen.
So I want to say, because like Emmanuel told me that you have to be really careful with the plugins that you download on a computer.
Yes. But that's nothing about blockchain.
The contract.
Because the blockchain runs on a EVM, and the EVM is designed like maybe a 50-year-old video recording machine is designed to, all like maybe the moon rover. It's designed to be so simple, so primitive that it works forever. Right? And everything just translate into the very simple format. So, okay, I'm almost done in here. I see we have 2 minutes left. So
we're good.
Yeah. I think I want to be keeping it to 1 hour. So Uniswap versus Pancakeswap, this is it. And Uniswap has just bypassed the total value locked. Well, actually, this is old. Before it was 6.5 billion, but now it overtook it. Lower transaction cost and listed more now. Now this is already out of date, and operates on Binance Smart Chain, and launched in 2020, which is all very, very new. And as I mentioned, this is evolving in an incredible rate that, yeah. And so transfer function, this is actually where you want to do your code review. And of course, token transfer, it has like a swap and Liquify. Like this is the main difference between like a MoonToken and other tokens, that you have like Liquify, and you have then of course the fees and liquidity and the tax. So these are the couple of places where MoonToken is different from regular coin. And with an audit, all we need to look at these areas: the fees, the liquidity, and the tax, and the calculation and the exceptions, and that's it. So and rewards, of course.
Because the CertiK audit will cost us $15,000 US.
Yeah, for people to know how to do the audit with these lines, but I'm giving it away because I'm telling everybody that the rest you can ignore, and these are the things that you need to look at. And I believe that once you can focus on only the things that you need to focus on, then proving these lines are not going to be that difficult. And I'm going to leave it for the conclusion of those people who are comfortable reading code. They're going to decide. So this concludes my sharing today. On the dot.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing. And,
Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Okay.
I think it's out of the scope of MoonToken, but I think it's also have MoonTokens. I have a friend who downloaded some plugin on MetaMask on the computer, and he woke up one day to see every token that he had being taken away, being transferred to another wallet. Very crazy. So how could that possibly happen? Since he has a private key, the private key wasn't stored on the computer. I don't know, but it was not stored on the computer to the best of my knowledge. How was the hacker? How did he able to transfer his token to another wallet without the consent or the signature of the owner?
My best guess is that they are doing a memory hack. In theory, your key is not stored in a computer, but that could be vulnerability in maybe some software, some wallets, because everything on a computer runs on RAM, random access memory, and sometimes after you use it, you throw it away, but actually you don't actually zero out the memory. So somebody would be able to use a pointer to go into the memory, and they would actually be able to find the remnants of the memory being used, and they could like reverse engineer that and maybe extract a majority of the key. And then with, let's say if you get 80% of the key, you only have to do a 20% in order to hack it. And that makes that exponentially easier.
So what would be the best practices for everybody to make sure that they don't face such problems or such issues? What that action would you request or recommend for our viewers?
Yeah, that's why some people use a hardware wallet. It's because hardware wallet is by far the safest, because the wallet only runs the wallet and nothing else. And just like the EVM single purpose, it is a lot more proven because it's a lot easier to prove, right? And of course, Andrew said that it could be a phishing website. Somebody could have send a fake message, and maybe they could pretend to be the wallet and the mathematics nature of crypto.
Yeah,
or social engineering.
Yeah, Emmanuel.
Thank you.
I can share. Yeah, I had 1 or 2 friends who got so-called hacked, and it was pretty obvious. What I noticed, like MetaMask, when you load, especially the new people, they like to load it as a tab, and that is where
That's very true.
it could be a website that I've seen MetaMask, exactly nearly the same, but actually one character was different, and because of that, they connected a wallet. Boom, that's it. All the money's out. Yeah. So I always advise the easiest way to segregate your so-called dealings with crypto, like, do you use the browser specifically for crypto, and your browsing website, like all the other sites, use like maybe Google Chrome or something like that. Then one is Firefox on Google Chrome, then one specifically for, so that way you sort of isolate your crypto dealings and also your surfing all the websites. So I think that's a very good internal management that we can habit to have when we're dealing in it, because you want to isolate as much as possible. And again, coming back to that tab, I always like to use the pop-up rather than the tab. Yeah, because you don't know whether the tab might be a phishing website and phishing website. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, and by the way, everyone, Bernard is a cybersecurity expert. He has a cybersecurity company. So,
which is not doing much business.
but anyway, we will get business. But anyways, next episode, yes. So thank you, Bernard. Esko, did you want to add?
No, Bernard did a great job. He covered mostly all the bases. The code is out there. It's easy to go through, and just a small portion is just really saying like the tax and where it's going and stuff like that. There's no ciphering of tokens or money or anything like that. It's not really possible. It's already, you can actually go through and see when it was transferred to a burn account. So
can you talk more about this transfer to the burn account?
Sure, it's a transfer of ownership. It was when it was created, let me see, the tokens were provided to a wallet. It's labeled the owner wallet, and then that half of it was sent to a burn address. The 1% was sent to the original developers, and then the rest was put into Pancakeswap. And from there, you can see in the BS scan site to where it was transferred, that it was actually activated to change the ownership to the burn account. And then the old owner, you may have the tag of like that's the account that created the MoonToken contract that uploaded it and had the original tokens before he distributed it. But after that, it's just an address, and that person can do whatever they want with that wallet.
So do we have to worry about that developer coming back and then taking back the contract and stealing all of our money?
No. It's like, can you unhash or rehash or no? It's.
I was almost crying during breakfast with we had brunch together, Reaper, and I'm like, I don't understand anything. He's like, it's the contract, He's like, it's so obvious.
I hope I didn't say that.
You did, but okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, I don't mind. Yeah, so that's really reassuring. It's super reassuring. I do have a question from Theo is, do you guys have plans to make MoonToken stakeable? So for me, it's a definite yes, definitely considering it. And Andrew is my DeFi expert, so he's gonna figure it out for us. Andrew, is it possible? Okay, question, Andrew. Is it possible for MoonToken to be stakeable?
If we create the staking pool.
Okay. Okay, done. I hope that answers your
question.
question.
Is, can we do it?
Yes. We have intentions too, so it's good. And then this is a question for all of our dev team here. Is like, can you tell me about the potential that the actual code for MoonToken has right now, or is it limited? And how much work is it to change it to a better one? Yeah, hello.
Well, I think the answer is that you can't change it because the contract is mined on the block, and once you're mined, it reaches a consensus and it gets propagated into the entire blockchain, which is distributed finance, which means that unless you have a supercomputer that overpowers more than 50% of the world, which is impossible, then you cannot make any changes at all. Not possible.
And that's why people make a new contract and have people move or have their transitions to the new contract.
Yes.
But there's something, what's this? Like there's a core contract and then there's a peripheral contract. Can there be a contract on top of it or something?
No.
Okay. So no?
No. Well, anything you can do on top of it is, that means that once you got the coin, then you can have human actions and say, hey, I'm Stacy, and whoever has the coin can come to me, I give you a lollipop, something like that. That's a secondary contract, but it's human.
Yeah, because Eric, the blockchain guy that I asked, he said there is a possibility to override on top. And I was like, really? But no.
Let me officially ask the rest of our team to make sure that I'm correct. So Andrew, Esko, no, right?
I don't know of any people. A couple of people said there is a way. I don't see how, especially with this contract, that there's no way to have a variable that will change. Everything's locked in and the keys are thrown away. If you maintained ownership, if there was still a owner, then there are ways to where there would be in the contract that, like here in the contract, it says if the owner, made transactions, then they wouldn't be taxed.
Yes, I saw that, but I also saw that I traced that part of the code. But actually, I was looking at that. And that only applies to two addresses. Number one is the serial address, and number two is actually the address of the coin. So there are only two addresses in the entire hash array, and there's no way for you to add a third one.
Correct.
Well, so I like Esko's answer a lot. Actually, I like your answer better than my answer. I don't know of any way. Because if I say no, actually I'm being overly arrogant, right? The correct way, humble way, is to say that we don't know of any way. Yeah, human knowledge is not all encompassing. Yeah, so I love Esko's answer. I'm gonna use that from now on, moving forward.
I'm gonna write it down too.
Yes, thank you.
And then just to reassure everyone, but also me, just to confirm with all these smarty pants on this line. So, is there any way for someone to come hack the liquidity pool?
I don't know of any.
Hack Pancakeswap, good luck.
Yeah, good luck, yes.
Okay. And then no way to hack the burn wallet.
Same answer. Well, the only way to hack is to hack the exchange, because the exchange stores the key, right? As long as you don't store the key, then it's mathematically impossible.
Okay.
So like, there are no infinite number of digits in pi. 3.14.
How many did you memorize?
Like, I used to memorize about 7. Now it's down to like 3.14. Mine is blank.
Come on, all the geeks online, we memorized it.
3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126,
need those. So it's like 3.14. I remember, yeah. When I was younger, it's like I could get like into like 20 for some reason, because it felt like it's a human pattern that's not a pattern, because it's not a pattern.
Yeah, just like, there are infinite number of digits in pi, and there are infinite number of digits in the square root of 2.
The only,
And you
the
cannot
only,
change that.
the
That's
only,
mathematics. The
the
good
only
luck
number
making
I want to
mathematics.
see is more zeros on the back of my bank account.
Now this is another one that I need to borrow from Andrew.
Okay, we have a question here from Daniel. He says, "Hi guys, thank you for answering all of our questions. I was wondering if this hasn't been asked yet, are there any vehicles in the works to speed up the burn, or will there be votes on these burns?" Esko?
The burns are automatic, and I'm not quite sure what triggers it. Haven't looked into that, but it's, yeah, we don't have any, we don't manually burn, and we don't have like there's nothing to trigger a burn.
Yeah, so we do, and this goes back to the fact that the contract, it's like super secure, so there's nothing that we can go to open back up the contract to change the burn. Correct?
Correct.
So I made a video recently, it's like 2 minutes and 54 seconds, and it talks about how we have our rocket fuel, which we coin, our reflections are called rocket fuel. So for every transaction in MoonToken, if I transfer MoonToken to Bernard, for example, there's a 10% fee, and it's redistributed, as you saw in the contract, 8% to Liquidity Pool and 2% in redistributions that we marketing call it rocket fuel. And it redistributes it proportionally. So because the burn address is the majority holder of 55%, so for every 2% of the redistribution, 1.1% at this current rate goes to the burn address. So that means that every transaction, 1.1% is burned. Yes.
I want to add something, because there's
Yes.
something that I have also found an analogy for.
Yes.
When it comes to money, like for example, any currency, I'm not going to name any countries, you can print money, the mint actually print money, and that leads to inflation, right? And in Bitcoin, it's like cash out in 21 million Bitcoin, so it becomes increasingly more difficult. So that creates like a gold-like economy, like in the equivalent of digital currency. And then the MoonToken actually goes backwards. It actually disappears, just like art, like maybe Qing Dynasty, porcelain, and maybe like Picasso drawings becomes more and more rare. So how does this kind of digital economy, affect us and the world, and what can we do with it? And I know Stacy is exploring something, right? So if we can tie value to MoonToken, and if the economy is like Picasso economy, then I'm going to leave the rest to your imaginations.
Yeah, by the way, we have our AMA that we're all attending like on next Sunday. So we'll talk about this. But you're right, it's a deflationary token.
Yes.
Which is so different because like I'll say Hong Kong currency, but just like any currency is inflationary. The price of McDonald's used to be like 16 Hong Kong dollars for a set meal. Now it's 28. So my 100 Hong Kong dollars buys less McDonald's set meals now. So that's the inflationary, the purchasing power of a dollar like diminishes. By the way, I'm an econ teacher. So yes. Okay. Okay. And then here, Ray asked, I got some questions. Is it possible for MoonToken to get on any exchanges with the contract we have now? Emmanuel.
I think we leave it to the expert, but to the best of my knowledge, I doubt, because we personally don't have that liquidity to give to the exchanges to make it tradable. So for me, there's no much we can do because most of the exchanges, they will require a certain amount of the token from you to be given to them so that they can use it for marketing or for other competitions, apart from what you have to provide for them to make the market work. So it depends on what we have. So it goes back to you, Stacy.
Yeah, that's thank you. So that's a good question, Ray, because we do have members of our community, of our family asking like exchange. I've been really praying and thinking about this, right? So right now we're available on Pancakeswap, IndoX, Hotbit. And if you go to our holders, like that website that shows like the percentage, and Pancakeswap has 19% and Hotbit has like around, I think from my memory, like 1%. And the idea is right now the circulating supply is 45%. We as holders, as MoonToken family, we hold roughly 25%. And the rest is Pancakeswap and Hotbit and little tiny IndoX. So we do, like Emmanuel said, just to reiterate, we do not have tokens to kind of put on for any market making or just to make it available for an exchange unless we buy back tokens ourselves to put on list, which is also a possibility to consider. And I was just thinking, like, I guess the way that we are now, I would say we don't. And then could we just be happy with Pancakeswap and Hotbit and IndoX? Not to mention, guys, like there are people who come on our Telegram chat. Bernard, there are people who come on our Telegram chat and ask if we could be listed on Binance. And I'm just like, not only does that cost like $200,000 or something crazy like that, which please donate to our community wallet. We have like less than 500 US dollars, but it's like, there's all of these different processes, and the way that CZ put on his Twitter, like it's for Binance, it's not if you have money, you just apply and you come on our exchange. It's also almost so secure, like an invitation now. So I would say that's an answer of no. Yes. Okay. How about you, Ram? I know you're there. Would you like to add things?
No. Bernard's presentation was awesome. So it's nice if we can pin the slides on the site or on the Telegram.
That's a really good idea. We can put it on our website and then also on our Telegram. Yes.
With Bernard's credit and permission.
Oh, of course, it's my honor. I'm glad to be able to contribute to the loyal owners of MoonToken.
You know what we call ourselves, Bernard? We call ourselves diamond hands.
Yeah.
And here, Kokuglu says, thank you very much, Bernard, for the detailed explanation. Yes. Okay.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. What are our next steps as a community to improve? These are really good questions. And if you don't mind me, I'd like to pass on that Q&A section to the next week's AMA so that we have to respect everyone's time here, and we're almost at the 90-minute mark, if that's okay with you. But I think Oh wait, there you go. There's another question. You guys are just questions. Okay. Nelson says, can you explain, this is a technical question for you guys. Can you explain the differences between MoonToken contract and the SafeMoon contract, and how SafeMoon can still access their liquidity pool in 4 years from now? Is MoonToken a safer contract? Let's go.
Well, yes, because we transferred ownership to the burn account. They just locked and the liquidity to the burn account. So we can't even access that. We aren't the 0-0.
Yeah, we aren't. Right.
So yeah, SafeMoon, yes, they locked it for 4 years. That means they put in, I believe, a locked code. What's it? They put into a wallet to where it cannot be accessed again for 4 years. And that was after pressure from the community. Because yeah, a lot of people are worried and have seen a lot of rug pulls to where they didn't, to where the liquidity wasn't time locked as what they did, or actually burned into the zero address. So that's the way that's more secure, that after 4 years, they could literally rug pull. Now that's up to them and how they feel, but but that's also for them to still retain ownership of the liquidity.
And one of the things that when I was a retail investor buying into MoonToken, I love this idea of community owned. For me, how I interpreted community owned was like, there's no real big hunk of chunk of whale who can like manipulate the price. It means like, I have my share, I'm an investor, and I can take stake and I can contribute to this community token, So I do feel that I think I went to Whale Watcher Finance website, and like all of the, the top 20 holders, they hold less than 3% of the whole total of MoonToken. So it's pretty safe like that too. Yeah. Emmanuel, did you want to add on something?
I think Esko said everything. But just like I said, MoonToken was, I think it's safe to say SafeMoon is a semi-decentralized project, whereas MoonToken is totally decentralized project where the community owns and controls everything, decision making or everything. So I think probably what we did not do is to have a certain amount put in place so that Stacy can control. So we can send the exchanges, we can use it for everything that we want to do. But also the good side of it is to make sure that the power is for the people, or is to the people. Just like as we say, one day the owner or the founder of SafeMoon will wake up and pay how he feels. We'll decide on what to do after 4 years. Yep. Okay. So there's a good side and probably not too good side.
Okay. Do we have any other comments from the panel here today? And Andrew got a thumbs up. Okay. So as we end this wonderful Moon Academy live, our first ever class episode, thank you guys all so much for attending. And I would like to put Bernard on the spot. Sorry. Okay. And I would like to ask you, as your parting words, like, why do you love MoonToken so much, and how do you feel about it?
That's a personal question.
Too bad.
Because you are here.
Okay, no, like deeper.
Deeper? I think I mentioned before, because it actually designed a new and uncharted territory in decentralized finance by having like a burn rate. So it's actually ever decreasing. It is actually, I would just throw something out to get everybody's adrenaline flowing. NFTs. NFTs is all about rarity. It's like associated to like Christie's and Sotheby's, and that's about rarity. And MoonToken has put a paradigm shift of DeFi into the economy of rarities. We don't know where it's heading on, but I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Of the unknown, of the pushing of a new frontier.
That's a good teaser for on our talk on next.
Yeah, because I don't even know myself. I think it's going to be like a open to the floor kind of forum next time.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Bernard. Anyways, I thank you all the panelists for being here. Thank you to our dev team. You guys are awesome, and you guys are the brains of MoonToken. Thank you for you. And I just hope that this is the beginning of many, 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 many different episodes, because here at MoonToken, we're just so passionate about educating. Education is so important, and advancing education, advancing knowledge, and adding value to our community members and also to the greater space. And we look forward to invite you to our AMA this time, same channel. Andrew is also going to be helping us with the OBS there. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care and God bless you. Bye.
Ending this